let's see what happens when the Five Kage go up against the Guardians of the Globe. So, starting off, I'm actually going to scale the Guardians because I'm scaling Invincible, but I'm scaling them a little bit differently today. That's because none of them scale individually to Omni-Man, but they should scale to his lower end stuff. So, right now, it's the original team. So that is consisting of the Immortal, Darkwing, War Woman, Red Rush, Green Ghost, and Martian Man. Oh, and then Aquarius. So, how do those guys stack up? Well, at least for Immortal and War Woman, they should have attack potency and durability in the small country level, and then the rest of them should fall notably below that. From what I gathered, they didn't really seem to do any damage to Omni-Man. So, like, honestly, moving them down a tier even from Immortal and War Woman and putting them at, say, Island level, I feel is a easy enough justification. And, that is obviously including special abilities that they have. So, getting into some of these special abilities, you have Immortal, who's obviously immortal. He can regenerate from anything, but if you remove his head, he does die permanently. That's going to be pretty important in this fight. Otherwise, if one character's immortal, they kind of can't die. Red Rush is the fastest of the group, which we will be talking about their speed as a whole later on. Green Ghost has the ability to phase through anything. Martian Man is able to squish and stretch his body in any way, shape, or form he pleases. And then there's Aquarius, who has the ability to shoot water out of his hands and seems to be able to control it rather well. However, I did talk about speed prior when I was talking about Red Rush, and while Red Rush is notably faster than all of them, he shouldn't necessarily be so much faster than everyone to the point where none of them scale. I know, and it is hard to quantify because all we know is that Red Rush was faster than Immortal and Omni-Man, but that was also an Omni-Man in the atmosphere, so we have no context for how fast he is, which is a considerable problem, considering the best speed calculation we have is actually Invincible's flight speed, which we were able to calc in at around 0.3 for the speed of light. That's relativistic, if anyone's wondering. Red Rush should maybe scale above this a little bit, but even if you were to say that he's light speed, it is a fair assumption to put. So the rest of them are at 0.34% the speed of light, or 34%. And Red Rush himself should be, I would say, 3 times fast. I feel like that's fair, putting him at the speed of light, right? But now that we've done that, let's move on to the Hokage. Or, sorry, just the Kage. So, for the members of the Kage, we have Tsunade, Raikage A, Gaara, Onoki, and Mei. So, how do they scale? They all scale to the Bijou. I don't care whether it be A, boxing up KCM Naruto and Tsunade being relative to that, to all of them fighting Madara, and I'm going to be honest, Madara is stronger than any of the tailed beasts, so fighting Madara has to put you on the level of the tailed beast. And yes, was he messing with them? Yes. But at the end of the day, it's still Madara, okay? Like, let's, anyway, so they do scale to the tailed beast, and that puts them at around 6.4 gigatons of TNT, or island level. Now, moving into their speed, this is obviously in tandem with the Raikage. The Raikage was stated verbatim for the Lariat to move at the speed of light, or like light. So, yes, the Raikage is light speed. All of the others, while they can't run as fast as the Raikage, they can at least fight with him, keep pace with him. Inoki can actually use the lightweight boulder jutsu to actually make him even faster than what he was prior. Also, Gaara's speed should be just as fast, if not faster, than that Raikage. So that puts Gaara's Sand and Inoki using the Fire Boulder Jutsu both a little bit above light speed, but by an unquantifiable amount. So we kind of just gotta, shrug our shoulders and move on. Anyway, anyway, let's get into their special abilities. So for Tsunade, she has the 100 healings, and this basically makes her immortal. And even if you completely disassemble her, unless it's down to a particle level, she will be able to regenerate. We know this because Katsuyu was able to help Tsunade basically fuse her halves together. And once they were brought back together after she was cut in half by Mara, she fused back together. And since there are actually four other teammates on her team that can do the same. Also, I will be allowing Katsuyu to be summoned. After all, this is a group battle. However, I doubt Katsuyu is going to make any notable difference in this fight, but it is notable that she is there to help Tsunade heal. Anyway, moving on to the Raikage, his lightning armor and speed should at least help him somewhat. And then Inoki, I don't know if you guys have heard of this little thing. It's called particle style. Yeah, I, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that later. And then May can shoot water, fire, magma, steam. She is a master of all those elements and can produce them at will. Anyway, anyway, now that I have broken down both of our members or both of our elite teams, let's see who wins. And starting off, the Five Kage should be 3 times faster at the bare minimum, considering the Raikage is speed of light in his normal form. Compare that to the light wage boulder jutsu, which makes him even faster, and Gara Sand, which is just as fast as that. However, the Guardians, particularly, I want to make this very clear, Immortal and War Woman are 16 times stronger. So most likely they will be one-shotting any of the Kage if they land a hit. On top of that, there are also 7 members of the Guardians of the Globe. However, I'm going to be real. Characters like Darkwing and Aquarius and Martian Man, I feel, are not going to be that notable in this instance, just due to the fact that Inoki is there, and particle style is very, very, very important. Now, oddly enough, I haven't brought up Green Ghost yet, and that's because I do not know if her intangibility would negate particle style. From what I've gathered, it does not, considering even Obito, when he took his body into the Kamui dimension during the Five Kage summit, he had to basically teleport Sasuke away. He didn't just pull Sasuke into the Kamui dimension. I believe that is because Inoki's particle style would have broken down Obito in that instance, regardless of whether or not he would have been in his transparent Kamui form. So I believe it would work on Green Ghost. However, Green Ghost should be able to basically evade Tsunade, Gaara, and the Raikage. However, Mei is an unknown just due to the fact that we don't know if heat affects her in that state. So there's a chance that maybe the lava would work on her even when she's intangible. But I kind of doubt that. But it's just something that could be noted. On top of that, I think Mei is just a better version of Aquarius, so that already, provides more value where one member of the Kage team is already doing more than a member of the Guardians. However, they do have more notable numbers. I don't think that is enough to put all the Kage in the ground, especially since none of them have extreme AoE damage, which I believe would take Tsunade down. So, while I do believe that Immortal and War Woman would be able to, let's say, punch Tsunade in the face and it breaks her skull, right? It should make sense because they're 16 times strong. That's a fact. Well, she regenerates all of that and then she gets back up. And then they punch her in the ribs and they break all her. Well, she regenerates her ribs and gets back up. Like, they do not have the destructive capacity to, let's say, rip Tsunade in half or completely blow her apart to the point where she cannot regenerate. So that means she's going to keep coming forward, and she will work as a very good distraction along with the Raikage to either allow Gaara to seal any of the members of the Guardians, or multiple ones at once, or Anoki will come in with particle style. And I'm going to be frank, Immortal, despite the fact that his name is literally Immortal, if you rip his head off, he does not come back. Well, I'm pretty sure if you were to use particle style on his very existence and completely atomize him, that I would say is more serious than popping off his head. So, yeah. I do think that the Guardians do have a decent shot at winning this, but since the Five Kage are faster and are more versatile combatants, I believe that they would be able to overwhelm the 7 opponents that they have to face, right? On top of that, I think the fact that I would say only the Immortal, War Woman, and maybe Red Rush are going to be helpful in this instance. And even then, Red Rush doesn't seem to have any notable durability feats, meaning that most likely, if he were to get into a bout of speed against, let's say, the Raikage, he would just lose because he does not. It doesn't seem like he has any notable durability compared to the Raikage, who was taking hits, while not major, at least minor hits from Madara, right? Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I did enjoy making it, and I would like to hear what you guys have to say. And I hope you enjoy the Invincible review coming out next week. Anyway, this is Rox signing off.